Well, this is Motley Crue at their absolute finest for me. I mean, I do love Dr. Feelgood, which we've done in a different video, but this one, Girls, 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 is the epitome of a kind of snaky guitar line with loads of parallel force in there. Really, really next level difficult to play though. It sounds quite straightforward when you're listening to the track, but once you work out that you're sliding around with your first finger and these bits, it all gets very, very technical and very complicated, but I've broken it down for you in this lesson here. If you've ever struggled to play this track, I think this will really help you out with this lesson. So do subscribe if you're a Motley Crue fan, and let's kick into it now. This is Girls, 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 and we'll start with the very beginning intro section. So there's two options once the motorbike sound effect has happened a couple of times. First thing to mention, as is usually the case with Motley Crue, we're in D tuning. So it's a standard tuning in the sense that all the notes are spaced in the same way, but everything is a step down. So your guitar should, instead of sounding like it's in E, it should sound like it's in D. That's the first thing. Motley Crue do that for most of their tracks. When we're on the intro here, you can either do a bar chord. I'll call it a G, even though it's technically an F, because it's easier to just talk in standard tuning terms. So it's a G chord on the 3rd fret. 4 of those. With a bit of whammy bar action. Or you can use the thumb, which I've seen Mick do in a live video. It sounds a bit more hollow. The other thing you can do if you don't have a whammy bar is bend the neck a bit. Just a little bit to kind of drop the pitch there. And also I've seen that there's a harmonic option, which Mick does in a live situation. So you can achieve that with the 5th frets lightly pressed on the D and G string. Of course, they're not the D and G string in this instance. They're tuned down at a full step, but anyway, you know what I mean, these two here. So that's the intro section. Those are your various options. Let's dive in now, though, to where it gets really interesting. The main riff, the first time it comes round. So I mentioned there's lots of parallel force. There's lots of unusual choices here. You're starting off on the 5th fret on the, I'm going to call it the standard string names, the A and D string. And you slide with those two. Then you play 2 open strings, the E and the A. So, and then you're jumping into a power chord shape on the 2nd fret. And that's all one movement. So you do power chord slide, then take it all off with a pull off. Then you're going to change to this E major shape. So the way that you do this next bit is just the bottom 2 notes, and then the top 2 strings which are opens, and then you crush your hand, and then do a dead set of notes. So once again that bit. So let's take it back to the beginning and run it through again. Slide. This is the hardest bit. You're going from that power chord straight up to the 1st finger again. So really that's the hardest bit of this riff, is the constant return to those 5th frets with the 1st finger. So I'll run you through from the beginning, just see if you can follow along with the tab here. So slides, opens, power chord, all of that releases. E major, and the way that Mick does this bit, just coming into bar 14, he does this E chord with the 1st fingers, but he forgets the bottom string, so, and then 2nd and 4th finger. So that's unusual, isn't it? it through fully. I'm going to take it all the way back to the beginning here, and I'm going to take it slowly now so that you get the gist of what we're doing here. So this one is, so from the beginning, slides. So just land on this. And the turnaround there in bar 18 is different to how we've had it before. There's an extra note because you get... because we're going back to being on the beats at the start of verse 1, which is a lovely little bit of rhythmic difference, but also catches me out every single time. So these are nice, cool power chords. You've got an A in our step down tuning, a full tone down, so in a standard D, you might want to call it. So you got this, I'm calling it an A because it's easier. Nice and easy. Then you land with your third finger on these 2 7th frets here. Just a single depression. Then land on this 3rd fret on the E string. And then up to the 9th. Back to the 7th. Little bend on that 3rd fret as well. And then you've got these octave snaky slides here in bar 26. So the way to not hit that middle string, by the way, is to keep your first finger pressed very firmly on the A string and lightly hovering over the D string. And then you do play the top string as well. So back to the chorus. Now we've tackled the chorus in depth in part 1 of this video series, but I'm going to run it through for you now quite slowly so that you follow along, and just I'll let you know if there's any little change ups, because there's a turnaround difference, and there's also a variation of the main riff where we go onto the A string. But anyway, chorus time. This is technically chorus number 2. And it changes up to 1 string over. So this is where it gets interesting. You've got it on the 5th frets, but 1 string over. So the difference is quite clear. It starts off the same but 1 string over. And also you've got the beat anticipated. 2 open strings, power chord slide. Then back again. Then power chord. So that's how you get out of that. You go on the off beat there, and then you're back into the main riff in its original formulation. So just a reminder that the turnaround here, because you're going back to the verse, you get the extra note in there because you're going back onto the beat. And verse 2 is the same pretty much as verse 1, so let's run through that. And the octave. Really try and lock that in position. And then do not adjust to the finger positioning. Otherwise you're going to come unstuck. Then we're back to chorus 2. We'll run through that as well because that's very similar to everything we've just done. So back to the 5th frets and its original formulation again. And it changes to the variant. And then it goes back to its original version. So the turnaround just before this has led us with an extra note into being on the beat again. So we got set up with the fourth finger there. And you mute the second time you play that fourth finger. So it's like this. And then you've got this sort of initial solo section here. There's two ways of playing it. I think you come down with the fourth, with the first finger barred across, because it rings a bit more like that. The easier one is very tempting. To be totally honest with you, I'd probably lean towards that one. But anyway, then you've got the offbeat A chords, and then these power chords continue. And then you've got this same pattern again. Again, you could reach up with the fourth finger if you wanted to, then power chords again. And then you get this break section, which is these chords again from the beginning. And this time you've got the harmonics, which I mentioned in video part 1. You've got these 5th frets on the D and G strings. And then you do a sort of quicker with a little slide down like that into the return. And the intro return is very similar to what we've had before, so we'll just keep going with this video because it's all the same stuff. So we're back with another verse. Let's just run that through. That parallel octaves then we're back with another chorus here. And we swap to this version of the riff. Then back to the main version of the riff again. And then you get what I would call the outro solo, which is coming in our next part of the video, but it's a bit like this. There's lots to learn here then, so we're diving into the outro solo. Got the 14th and 15th frets here, and we're up on the G and the B string, and you get... And then you keep it fully bent, so you get... And then you get another one. With a few more whammy bar differences, then we get the next third time round. And this is where it's different. You get a little kind of 12th fret interpolation. With a little whammy bar and a sort of release and then a rebend, which is really fun. And then you drop down to the 7th and 8th frets. And then next time you get... Similar kind of idea, so... And then you get... That's the little pattern there. Make sure you use your first finger, and then the little finger's got to do a little bit of work. Then you're back up to the 14th and 15th. And then the next section, it was what I would call the extreme dipping section. So you get... So you really just got to kind of mess a lot with the whammy bar whilst doing a 12th and 15th fret hammer-on pull-off situation. And make sure you end with the 15th bend up, because that sets up your next section, which is... So the basic idea is... You're trying to end on an up pick if you can possibly help it. But it's so messy when Mick Mars plays it, and it's so not specific, that what I would encourage you to do is pick as fast as you can and play the left hand as fast as you can. They don't even need to match up, so it sounds a bit more like this. And again, end with that 15th fret on the B string bent up. Then you're up on the 22nd fret, so right at the top. I love that little thing. That's a very AC/DC thing to do. It's the up picks and the sort of 3/4 bend, slight release from the full. And then it carries on. And then this is a kind of weird part of the outro section. It took me ages to work this one out because it's not what you would think. It's a 1st and 3rd finger, so 10th and 11th frets, and the D and G string. And the 11th is bent away from you. Then you come down to the double 9s. It's quite difficult, really, to kind of achieve that. But you'll get the hang of it if you practice it a few times. And then you get this last section, which is very fast. So what I would recommend doing is absolutely not following the tab extremely closely like I've done. I've actually tabbed out every single note by doing it about an 1/8 speed. And it is a bit like this. And you get kind of... which you can spend ages learning, or you can just get your 3rd and 1st fingers, and then you just kind of alternate them. And the way to achieve the slide is to do 3rd finger to 1st finger, then slide it. Just do it really quickly. And end on an open E string. That's what I would recommend. If you really want to follow the tab, it's there and available. But that is very, very tough. Motley Crue's Girls, Girls, Girls with the sliding parallels and remembering to change the riff up from... It's super, super tough, but well done if you followed that through. Thanks for watching this lesson series. I do love playing in Motley Crue tuning of D standard with the whammy bar, which is the reason I got this guitar, so I could do things like that for you. It's just a bit too much fun, isn't it? Thanks for watching anyway. Do subscribe if you're enjoying what we're doing. It really helps. And that's it. We'll see you in our next lesson. Peace out.